welcome in everybody today to the Dojo. It's a beautiful Friday here in California, but it's a great day for Pokemon battles all around the world. We are joined today by our student, TheTerminalSump. Welcome in, TerminalSump.
Hi everyone.
And we'll be doing some coaching in Ultra League Remix. Terminal's got a couple teams we went through them a little bit before, looking at you can see the Go Battle League. This is the 2300s of Ultra Remix, the frequency of things in the last 1,000 reported games. It is it's a G-Fisk Escav Jelly League, and Scrafty and Ninetales trying to compete with those things. So looking at that, we played around with a couple lines that he had and came up with something we think is pretty good based off, here in Go Out. We can see there's 213 G-Fisks in 1,000 games. It's about 1 in every 5 games. Feels like more than that sometimes lately. And of those 213, 86 were in the lead. So it's a little more likely the G-Fisk is in the back. So we tweaked the line a little bit to accommodate for that. Terminal, have you been here for a coaching session before?
No, it's just the first time for me.
Okay.
So this is
So the way coaching sessions work here, call it the inadequates method because he kind of pioneered it. During your games, you will be muted and deafened, and I'll be talking over your games as you play them, and stream will be able to hear me. And then after each game, we'll reconvene and have a little discussion, what you thought about that game, things that maybe I saw, things we could work on to do better. So you get to play the game, just you're playing it. I'm not going to backseat you at all. And then we'll talk about each game after it happens to look for things we can improve on. And then afterwards, I'll send you a link to the, I'll save the VOD and send you a link to it, and you can watch back and hear all the things that I'm saying, because I won't have time between every game to say everything I'm saying during the games.
Yep.
So the goal today isn't for me to push you into winning more games today. It's for me to help you analyze and look for areas to improve your game so you win more games through the rest of your GBL career, as it were. So if you're ready for it, we can go ahead and jump into game one.
Let's go.
Oh, we start with a win already.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself this morning.
All right, let's do it. TerminalSump definitely has some of the big players in this league. Those are definitely some high quality mons. I think Nidoqueen's over here. It's number 7 in usage. Mandibuzz at number 6. Definitely solid mons that core break a fair number of things. Both of them struggle a little bit against the G-Fisk, and that's why he's running a Jelly with Bubble to help farm down those G-Fisks as we see them. This is not a great lead. If they have Hex, it's not great. If they have Bubble, it's pretty bad. They get 2 Hexes, 3. Running Air Slash. They bring in an Escav. This is actually pretty good for us. We should be able to flip switch here. But we are a little bit behind with our Jelly versus their Jelly, so we want to be able to come out of this matchup with a move loaded or close to a move loaded on our Mandy, so we can get some of that Jelly's health. 1 Shadow Ball in the Jelly matchup, not lethal, but a Foul Play plus a Shadow Ball will be. They Acid Spray. I like the decision to no shield there. The worst thing they could be throwing is a goes for Aerial Ice. Interesting. Not really. He threw Foul Play the first time. Maybe he's thinking if he throws this Aerial Ice and undercharges a little, he can get a farm down. This is their counter swap, and they're just Acid Spraying. So it'd be interesting to see what they think they can farm this down with afterwards. Maybe it's a Bubble Beam Shadow Ball Jelly, and so they're afraid they won't be able to KO it. At this point, we probably can mirror shields. Oh, we get here first. I mean, we definitely have a chance here to win Switch and Shield, which is really nice. Having the have lethal, throw lethal here, we need 2 more Air Slashes. Nope, 2 shields, 4 Switch. They throw right away. I mean, there's nothing to shield here. I like that call. Save our shields. We know the Jelly's got almost a Shadow Ball loaded. We're going to have a little bit of a hard time in the matchup because we're the Bubble Jelly, where they have Hex, but we have 2 shields and they don't. They bring in a Machamp. Opponent, just not having an answer here. They forced the switch, but they're down 2 shields, and their Backmon doesn't have play against either of ours. Pretty interesting line, the Machamp. I guess that's a Jelly double counter user. hunting G-Fisks out here. Makes sense. G-Fisk is the most common thing, right? So we see our opponent running, 3 G-Fisk counters. No shield here. I think if we shield there, we always get to 1 Shadow Ball, and that puts them in range where we pretty reliably beat them. Looks like the mirror's being a little slow, but I don't think that actually impacted gameplay at all. We can talk with afterwards just to confirm that. But yeah, they are Bubble Beam Shadow Ball, which is going to be rough for us. 1, 2. Going for a Poison Fang first. I think we probably need 2 Earth Powers here. I think Poison Fang plus Earth Power probably not enough because we're lowering their defense, but they're going to keep Bubble Beaming us. 2, 3. Can we get this one off there? Okay, we get this one off before the next move they throw. That's really nice because another Bubble Beam would be pretty rough. And yeah, so I think the play was 2 Earth Powers. Now they get to shadow. They Bubble Beam us again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that swap. They tried to catch there and fed us the energy, so we'll take it. We win CMP against Jelly. They tap out. All right, bring the TheTerminalSump back in here with us. All right, what'd you think about that game?
He made some weird plays. I made it difficult for myself. I clearly miscounted on the Jelly. I thought the Jelly was only at Bubble, and then Shadow Balled me.
Yeah.
Because I think he must have had 3 moves to start at the start of the game when I thought it was 1. I did the best I could do, having been Shadow Balled.
Yeah. So they paid 2 shields for switch, which was really good for us. The Mandy safe swap really paying off there, right? They had no real answer for it. And then I like your decision to just no shield the Mandy. Like there was nothing there that we were super concerned about. That was good.
Yeah.
I was a little curious why you threw the aerial ace the second time after throwing the foul play the first time, but I don't know that it really changes much. Do you have was there something you were thinking there, or?
No. That was it was kind of just either would KO. I just hit 1.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, because in the neutral matchups, foul play is just a little bit more efficient. Aerial ace is a pretty.
You're right.
Yeah. Move. Yeah. So at the beginning, they farmed I think to 3 hexes at the beginning when you swapped out before they swapped out. So that's why they were a little bit ahead on energy there. And keeping track of energy, like through all the middle matchups and then coming back in, like that's pretty tricky. But I like that you stayed. The other thing was I was curious why you threw a Poison Fang at the Jelly.
Of course, I was debuffed there, but I know that an Earth Power didn't KO, and I knew you got very close. If you weren't debuffed, you got very close with a Poison Fang and an Earth Power.
Okay.
Because it drops its defense.
Yeah.
Actually, good thing to check, but really, in hindsight, probably just 2 Earth Powers was the right play.
Yeah.
Because the shields are down.
Yep. That's what I was thinking as well. And thankfully, our opponent went for a catch there and fed us the energy we needed.
I thought his 1 win con is to catch. I just kept poison jabbing, and then when the Machamp came in, my win con was to poison jab him down.
No, that was a good call. That was a good call to be patient on that one, and the opponent, went for their desperation play, and you just played right through it. It was good. I like the way you closed that one out. All right, there's that G-Fist lead we're not really excited about seeing. But our plan here, as we discussed earlier, was to go to the Earth Power, we win CMP, throw the Earth Power, and then match shields. So if they shield this, we want to shield. If they no shield this, then we will also no shield and come in with our Jellicent to farm down. So they no shield, that's pretty standard. It's not lethal. They don't want to get baited. We get the defense drop, which is actually pretty nice. It'll make farming this down with the Bubble Jelly a little easier. They bait us. Okay. That means we just get to stay in and keep throwing moves at 2. We should get to a Poison Fang here. This should be the EQ, but I guess we're just committed to... Oh, and we shield. Interesting. I mean, we're pretty sure that was going to happen, but I kind of would have liked us to just throw the 3. He's counting pretty well here. Goes up to either 1 short or CMP with the next EQ. We'll see if the opponent wants to shield this. They do not. And they bring in a Glade. That hurts. 2, do we survive this? We do. And Air/Mandy is going to do like a great job against Glade. The best it has is, and they shield a Poison Fang. The best they have is neutral close combat. Jelly here, definitely not the, oh yeah, there we go, because the Leaf Blade's very threatening to Jellison, but Mandy can just no shield through this. We now have 2 cats on the cat cam, sort of. And their other one is another fighter. So quite a few of these double fighting backlines we're seeing, which makes sense because G-Fisk is the most common thing and people are tired of losing to it, so they're bringing lots of counter users to try to counter it. And a lot of the counter users are just better budget picks, right, than other things we're seeing. Escav, Surfetched, Machamp, none of those require that much of an investment. Well, we traded one cat for the other. Oh, we're losing all the cats. I would just keep no-shielding this. The Jelly's just not that afraid. I like that call. We can tank 1 Leaf Blade. Well, CMP here. Not ideal, but okay. Goes for the no-shield on the Leaf Blade. Throw this Bubble Beam. I don't think this is quite lethal. I don't think Surfetch hurts more than Shadow Gallade. I think the Shadow Gallade is a little more punishing. 2, 3, 4, 5. We get to the Shadow Ball. They're not able to fast move us down. The Surfetch is going to die to 1, maybe 2 bubbles. Won't get to another move, so we're in a pretty commanding spot here. I think Gallade's kind of a tough one in the current meta. There we go. All right, what do you think about that one?
It was good. I thought I played well. The G-Fisk, my only play of G-Fisk is to stay in, and I decided that I was not going to shield anything until he baited me, with a view to farming down with Jelly because I got bubble on it.
Yep.
And he baited.
Yeah.
So at that point, it was worth shielding. And gave me switch, which was key in that game, I think, with two Leaf Bladers in the back.
Yeah, and keeping the Nidoqueen alive was pretty helpful. We did get the 1 Poison Fang off on the Gallade, and it pulled a shield from them.
Yeah, agreed.
I definitely
I'm
like.
not sure I would have shielded that.
Yeah, I mean, because you, if you'd thrown 1 more Poison Fang, you could have thrown the Earth Power in the middle of their animation, so they might have been miscounted by 1 or expected you to be Earth Powering there, and that would just wipe out the Shadow Gallade. So you can kind of see why they went for that.
The Surfetched, I made a mistake, and I should have just I should have known that I was going to tank a Leaf Blade. That was I'd realized I'd sort of thought I'm going to tank a Leaf Blade, but I still went for the bubble in case I didn't throw. It would have been a better play just to keep bubbling until they got to their just before their next Leaf Blade.
Yes.
It would have made it a bit easier, I think.
Yes, I agree. You probably could have. I mean, it would have been really close to being able to farm it down, honestly. And if you farmed it down, the Gallade didn't have any energy, so you could have maybe shielded the second Leaf Blade, farmed it down, and you have the Shadow Ball loaded. But you were in a pretty commanding spot at that point, and so you had a lot of winning lines.
I was watching. What's the word? I've wept before as I've been brave birded by a Surfetched.
Yeah,
which I think is 9, right? It's something like 9.
Each counter is 7, and Brave Bird's 55. So yeah, that should be 8. 8 times 7 is 56. Okay. Yeah. When they baited us the first time, would it? Because if we shield that second EQ, but then they shield our second Earth Power, I think we're still in kind of I don't know that gained us that much. We know they want to throw that Earthquake right away the second time. So if we play that matchup again and it plays out similarly, where we start with we throw the Earth Power, they no shield, they bait us, because we're no shielding anyways, right? I would just go to 5 and throw the Poison Fang there, because it should be CMP on their Earthquake. And then we just let it go, and they're defense debuffed from the poison. In this case, they would have been double debuffed because the Earth Power procced. But generally speaking, they'd be at least one debuff there, and we could farm them down with our jelly. I think that before when we were talking beforehand, I think we talked about, like, that was kind of the general plan, was just no shield, no shield. They EQ us, we farm down with jelly. I don't know that we want to change it up that much. If they try to bait, that just puts them further behind. I'd still probably no shield in that lead matchup. But just go for the Poison Fang at 5. Like, go for Earth Power and then Poison Fang, because that lines up exactly with them throwing Rock Slide and then trying to throw EQ.
Fair play, and then you would have to try it out, but hopefully you've got enough bubbles then to avoid an Earthquake before they reach their next Earthquake. So
if you I mean, you're definitely going to get to a bubble beam before they can get to the EQ. So if they were like, if you're counting there, like once they get to like 7, you could just throw the bubble beam and it'll be lethal from the range they're at with the bubble pressure. So if they are going to make it, we can always stop them. And then we'll still come out with probably like a 2 bubble advantage on whatever's coming in next. And teams that have that G-Fisk lead, they're generally going to struggle against our backline. Like the things they have are really usually not very good against Mandibuzz, because the G-Fisk is their anti-flyer. So I think a little bit of an energy lead on Jelly, and the Manny in the back will still be able to clean that up pretty well if we see that one again. But let's go for the next one. I mean that, chat. Like, good teams play well from lost leads. That just means your team's well designed, where you have good answers in the back for the things that are behind things that beat your lead, right? They should just be going for, they stored up a move there and then swapped. They went to a Shadow Ball or Icy, well, they have the Icy Wind if they have the Shadow Ball, right? So we're just going to stay in this matchup. Knowing that it's got that already, I mean, we could try to get this low and then try to snipe it with something, because our switch timers are desynced. So just burn clock, maybe try to leave with a foul play loaded, because we know that Drifblim's back there for later, right? I see the Stretch Redeem Deep Dish special, and I will get to that probably after this game. But I have not missed that. 10-10. Oh, Koi Pebble put some catnip out, so 10-10's really enjoying the cat cam now. These rock slides just kind of tickle Mandy. It'd be really good if we could load a move here and then swap out, but I might stay in and just play this out. But it's always good to look for opportunities to make use of them desyncing the timer, right? That they were 5. There's the swap. 2. Their timer will be back up now. They can swap it back in and Shadow Ball us. If this is an EQ plus Shadow Ball, I think is lethal. They do make that swap. So we probably want to shield here. They Icy Wind, Savage. We get to Bubble Beam them back. They might no shield this, because after the debuff, a Shadow Ball is not lethal. But hopefully they do. We get a shield there. They're still going to outpace us, I think. 1, 2. No shielding this time. Another Icy Wind. Big call there. And then we want to go for Shadow Ball here. We want to kill this thing. And our switch timer is about to be back up. So whatever they bring in here, we can swap out. We know they have a low health G-Fisk that threw an EQ, so it doesn't have much energy. And some other Mon. So he swaps out to the Mandy here to clear his debuffs. Icy Wind won't KO from this range. They can't Hex down. The back Mon is a Toxicroak. Oh, this is a situation where the foul play is resisted and the Aerial is super effective, so Aerial would be better here. Maybe I got in his head a little bit last time, but we probably wanted to throw an Aerial Ace there. That's okay though, we have Nidoqueen. It's going to take 2 Mud Bombs to kill us. He comes in with the Jelly. Maybe just going for a Bubble Beam here. It's okay, Terminal Sump. You can see him. There's one mud bomb. Oh, we don't survive the counter. Yeah, with them having the energy lead they had, I probably would have just come in with Nidoqueen and just gone straight Poison Fang. I think that would have made it a little bit easier for us. Just Poison Fang right away. We're trying to farm down. Okay, he's counting there, waiting till they're one short of Mud Bomb, then throwing. That's fine too. Because we do want a little bit of energy lead going to the G-Fisk. We get the shield. So now we're just going for a Poison Jab down. This won't KO, and we need Earth Power for the G-Fisk. So I think he's created a win condition here, but it's going to be dependent on how many. There's the G-Fisk. Earth Power it. Earth Power. Oh, triple resistant Poison Fang doesn't do a lot, chat. And if they get to a Rock Slide, I think we're in trouble. I would have just gone for the Earth Power here. Yeah, I think if we throw the Earth Power there, I think we really have a chance to just kill the Toxicroak. It's a tough one. Sometimes they get away from us. Definitely wasn't a lead we were excited to see. All right, what do you think about that one, TerminalSump?
Started in a really good position, and then I screwed it up, basically. Firstly, sent foul play on the... I wasn't paying attention. I foul play on the Toxie, and then I should have gone into Nido, not into Jelly, then kept the Jelly.
Yeah.
Still would have been tough, I think, but that was a mistake in hindsight.
Yeah, I think if you I realize on the move there that extra damage on the Toxicroak probably makes the difference. And I also like the call there to go into Nidoqueen and I would just like straight Poison Fang. Like just, you don't have to try to Earth Power the Toxie. Like you resist the counters. It's going to take them at least 2 Mud Bombs to kill you. And you just exert more fast move pressure than they do as you get the debuffs there. And even if you lose that matchup, but you get the Toxie low, you just bubble down the Toxie and the G-Fisk.
Yeah, no, I was just worried about the Drift Blim at the back, right? Still, that I needed to somehow kill. And I should have kept the Jelly for a Shadow Ball ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Drift Blim was really low.
It's really low, wasn't it? Yeah, indeed.
Trying to think back. One thing that I noticed pretty early on in the match, so when you swapped out, they stayed in and threw, I think, 5 hexes. It was 4 or 5 hexes. And then they swapped out without throwing at your Mandy. I think that you can take advantage of that kind of situation. So like taking advantage of desync switch timers, it's like another thing to keep track of on top of counting and all the other things. But it is a really useful thing when they make that kind of play. Then you have the opportunity later to write as like, the way I think of it is like you want to try to store up a move and then swap out as soon as your switch timer is ready. Because like having a foul play loaded on the Mandy is going to do a lot more to that Drift Blim than it does to the G-Fisk.
G-Fisk. I agree. I wasn't paying close enough attention to the switch clock there. Yeah, I agree.
So I like that you did swap out. You did swap out and try to get the farm down there with the Jelly. I just think if you try to like line it up, so you're like loading up a foul play, maybe you have to go a little bit over. Maybe it's like 7 air slashes, 8 air slashes, but then swapping out right when your timer's up. The Jelly doesn't really care about the moves from the G-Fisk quite as much, and you can get a little bit of energy lead there, so it can compete with that Drift Blim, right? Because they're on the same turn cycle essentially. It's 3 turn moves. You both get to Shadow Ball at 5. So if you could get 4 bubbles there or something, you baited well and they shielded it, and that like if you'd swapped out right away and land that bait, you then get to a Shadow Ball before they can Icy Wind Shadow Ball. So I think that something to keep track of when you're, because that's that's an awkward lead for us. We don't like seeing it, but when they give us that opportunity, when they stay in and farm and then don't even throw at us, we can take advantage of that. A little bit further into the match.
Agreed. That's useful to know. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go on the next one.
Right.
Also, the team's been feeling pretty good. Like I think you've that game you had a chance to win it, so I'm feeling pretty confident with this team and how you're looking at it.
I did feel there was a win con halfway through that. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is another tricky lead for us. We go to our safe swap. I'll just do a This is not where we want to be. We're dead. Yeah, he's already moving over by the aerial ace. That's definitely what we'll be throwing in this matchup because the other move is resisted. We'll do a tricep stretch. There we go. Not the most flattering angle on my arms, but that's okay. We're working on them. We're all works in progress. There's no real way for us to win this matchup, but that's okay because the jelly can farm this down, and that'll give us an advantage against their jelly because we'll have an energy lead. So we don't, need to win this. We just want to get this low if we can, but in a good farm down range. Opponent may also aggressively go for a farm here. That wouldn't be great for us, but like Dazzling Gleam's not that threatening to jelly. Yeah, we'd have to get to another one of those. I don't think we get to another one. So it's just going to be a farm down here for them. Not ideal. Oops, swaps out. Saving that later for a sack. And getting a little bit of energy lead, right? Because we're bubble jelly. We need an energy lead against their jelly. They throw a weather ball here. That's really good for us. Psyshock would be worse. All right, it's bubble beam time. So now we've seen their whole line. They have a jelly with no energy. Alola Ninetales at low HP that are, but it's got some energy, right? So we have to make sure we try to keep a shield for our Nidoqueen. But Nidoqueen definitely has play against this and the Ninetales. Shield's a foul play. That's pretty good for us. The opponent went straight for foul play and we shielded it. We're gonna go for another Bubble Beam debuff. I think after this one, we probably want to start throwing Shadow Balls because it's definitely more damage efficient. Bubble Beam's very low on the damage chart. But you can see the bubbles and Bubble Beams adding up. Going for another Bubble Beam. Foul play coming through here. Yeah, it's going to take 2 more of those, it looks like, with all these debuffs. But we want to try to bring the advantage from this matchup into the next one, right? It's not enough to just win this matchup because we are in a tough situation. This swap was a little bit aggressive because we knew they had this jelly back there. And again, I guess from this much HP, still kind of like Earth Power better here. I don't think the opponent wants to shield this. They're throwing a move back this way. Throws a Shadow Ball. That means it probably doesn't have Ice Beam, which means it probably does have Bubble Beam. I think you gotta no-shield this. It's a really awkward situation, but yep, there's the Bubble Beam. Doesn't quite take out. We get to throw this Earth Power. They're gonna farm us down. They definitely had a better answer for us this time. I think that aggressive swap out though from the Scrafty matchup put us in a tough spot because this jelly was always going to create more advantage off of us. And I don't think we can. He's going to swap out here, try to catch. Oh, died to a 1 Hex. I like that play though. We needed to make that play, but I think they just had too much HP left across their 3 Mons. They Bubble Beam bait us. They're trying to give us a win con chat. They're trying to, but I just don't see us getting through all of them from here. Lets that go down. The Ninetales comes back in. It's got at least 1 move loaded, and we just can't bubble this down before it gets to 2. If we wanted to win, we'd probably still shield this and try to get a Bubble Beam off. He's very aggressively not shielding at this point. Because I guess if we shield the last one, he still gets to here before we get to that Bubble Beam. Alright. Alright, what'd you think about that one?
If I'm honest, I just felt I was hard counted from start to finish. Where do I go and what do I do? I had no clue at halfway through. I thought, badly, probably the worst possible counter swap into Mandy. I maybe shouldn't have switched out the Mandy to keep a sliver, but even then, if I'd stayed in, I would have been. I would have been.
I didn't mind the Mandy swap out. It did get you a little bit of an energy lead over his jelly, so then they felt obviously uncomfortable bringing their jelly back in and brought in the Scrafty instead. I think that where we had a line to victory, and then diverted from that was, I think if we stayed in the Jelly Scrafty matchup and found some way to leave that matchup even on like 15% HP, but with some energy loaded, I think that maybe we had play. It still would have been rough because they did swap out their the Ninetales with energy. But I think once we switch locked our Nidoqueen in, and they were able to bring in the Jelly on our Nidoqueen, I think at that point we didn't have, I don't think we had any play left from there. But I think once we had that Jelly on the Scrafty, we triple debuffed it. Like we were going to survive the next foul play. I think we could have stayed in there. And also, if we don't make that aggressive swap there, we still have a chance to catch a move on the Mandy, right? I think that's one of the things that, like, it's like, you know, we gave up switch advantage. That was bad, but I think we saved a mon at low HP, and I'm guilty of this too. Like, I'll save a mon on low HP, I'll make an aggressive swap later and save another mon on low HP, but now I'm switch locked with my last thing, and I can never actually make the sack swap. And your timing's been pretty good on trying to make those sacks, so I think I'd be really confident in your ability, if we stayed in there, to then maybe catch something on the Mandy later. You know, then essentially we're on even shields there. We have the Mandy as our second shield. We have one, they have two. I think if just having enough of an energy lead on ours gives us a chance to, like, you know, bait their Jelly, get shields, and then maybe our Nidoqueen can, like, double Earth Power from there or something. It would have been tight.
So how would we get out the Scrafty then? So keep bubble beating. I think we do okay, and in some cases, if you've got a lot of energy, you can Shadow Ball it to kill at the end before it's killed.
Yeah, my thought was, let me throw it over here. My thought was,
how would you?
I think it's probably 2 bubble beams and then Shadow Balls after that. Let me look what the.
Okay, the right play. Yep.
They weren't throwing pup at all, so they were giving us, you know, they didn't try to bait us or anything. So, let's just throw it. Why would you? It's not exactly like
which
that.
most Scrafties do. They just go straight foul play. They don't mess around, I think.
Yeah. I'd have to dig through a little more, but with just a 4 bubble lead, if you just go straight 3 bubble beams and a Shadow Ball. You tank and shield 1 foul play. You tank 2 foul plays. You come out at 50 HP with a Shadow Ball loaded. So that's, like, it's not a good matchup, but being able to invest 1 shield, kill that mon, and come out of it with a move loaded and enough HP that, like, the Ninetales, we're not going to die to a Weather Ball from 50. And that's really also really rough farm down range for their Jelly. So we're almost always going to get this move off to get the shield back, whether we bait or not, and still get to another move. So I think that gives us some play there to try to create, you know, it's a bottom third matchup. It's a bottom third matchup. Like, we had bad lead, bad counter swap, so we have to try to find, like, what is the one way through this that we can try to create a win. And I think that from that Jelly Scrafty matchup, I think we had some potential there to create an advantage, and whether we could use that to close out the game or not, that'd be you know, another 30 minutes of running sims from here. But clearly we can win that matchup and come out with a move loaded. That's pretty good coming from where we started that match.
Much better spot, yeah. Indeed, after 2 hard counters.
Yeah. So
all right.
Hopefully we don't see that line again. But if we do, we have a little bit of a plan. You ready to jump in the next one?
Yep, here we go.
Battle starting right away. Meanwhile, in chat, we're learning about how to save your video card. Also a good discussion. This is a great lead for us. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. CMP right here. We win the CMP against the Scrafty. They know this is Poison Fang, right? Because we didn't go to 8. But we want to get that move off before them, see what their plan is here. I think, I don't know what his network connection feels like and how often he feels he can go for denies or whatever. 3. I like this Poison Fang because we do have that bubble Jelly to get this debuff on there so that our bubbles do more damage. Swaps out. And I think we still get this bubble beam. Well, they got to, we did give them a few lead. And it was heads up by our opponent, right? We threw pretty early, so they were going to get that EQ a little bit behind us. Going for Shadow Ball here. Will not KO. I think it's one Bubble Beam, one Shadow Ball from here, so it's probably a little better to go for the Bubble Beam first. But they shield. But another reason going for Bubble Beam first feels a little bit better, probably. We will die to this. If we'd thrown the Bubble Beam first, we wouldn't. And that's, I think, the main takeaway I would have on that one. I think there's just all upside there to throwing the Bubble Beams on the first one. Let's see if the opponent wants to shield this one. This probably does take out from half after the defense drop. See if the opponent wants to commit 2 shields. They do not. Scrafty comes back in. Bubble Beam this bad boy. We do not want to shield the Jelly. If they want to throw Foul Play, they're debuffed and in definite farm down range for our Nidoqueen. Goes for a swap there. I mean, the good counting, but the 3-turn, 2-turn doesn't line up well for him to be able to swap out and catch this. But yeah, the top left was pretty. That one felt more like a top third matchup.
Indeed. When I saw the Jelly, I was trying to catch on the I was kind of catch the foul play on the
Mandibuzz
on the Mandy and just got it. Yeah, I mean 3-turn move got me there. I just missed the catch, but saw the Jelly. I was like, yeah. Unfortunately, I hard countered my opponent.
Yeah. I was curious why you threw it CMP against the Scrafty.
I actually thought twice about that. I was just more. It's just more habit of watching for the switch out. They're in a losing matchup, and I don't want to necessarily waste energy or throw at 5 when they're expecting me to throw at 5. There's more habit, I think. But you're right. It would Poison Fang get in there early and just debuff the.
Yeah, I think. Let me look up the Zero Shields matchup with the Nidoqueen Shadow, because my initial thought was try to tap through when they throw that foul play. Maybe we get an extra poison jab, and then throw like one more after that, and then Earth Power. I think it's.
Okay.
Is it 1 Poison Fang, 1 Earth Power, or is it 2 Earth Powers to KO? It's 1 Poison.
Playing that matchup straight. If he stayed in, I would have Poison Fanged the whole way. That would be my play. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's actually you would lose the zeros there going straight going straight Poison Fang. I would definitely want to go whether you go Poison Fang Earth Power or Earth Power Poison Fang. Either way, you're gonna be able to, either way you'll be able to match shields with them when they try to shield the Earth Power, because you'll get to both your moves before they get to the second one. So maybe it is Poison Fang and then Earth Power. I kind of like Earth Power than Poison Fang because, like you said, some people may try to catch there, and our opponent there did then swap to the G-Fisk, right? And so if we picture a situation where they throw the foul play at 7, and then they swap to the G-Fisk, like, we get to Earth Power the G-Fisk and then swap out. That feels pretty good.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and I did wonder whether I should be Poison Fanging, but I sort of figured at that point that the G-Fisk is hard locked.
Yes.
And both my other mons beat the Scrafty. Mandy beat Scrafty, and so I thought, let's debuff it and make Jelly's matchup easier.
Yes, I like that play. I like that play, and it didn't give them that much of an energy advantage. Like, I think it was like 4 mud shots or something to make sure you got that. So that felt pretty heads up. But I think we want to try to tap through when they throw that first one. Maybe we get an extra poison jab there, which would be nice. And then throw the Earth Power at 9 or something. Go like one counter past to see if they try to do anything tricksy, and then throw an Earth Power there. And then we can always, if they shield that, we can always then shield the next foul play and maybe Poison Fang farm down or something. But we don't want to be playing the 0 straight Poison Fang. That does not. That would be.
That's useful to know. I didn't know that. All right, let's go.
All right, Nidoqueen into Greedent. I have to believe this is good for us. Bullet Seed is neutral and not particularly efficient, and neither Body Slam nor Crunch is super threatening to us. Body Slam's more efficient, but I've seen quite a few greens in neutral matchups go Crunch to try to get that debuff first and then go straight Body Slam after that. But I would no shield whatever this is. I think it takes at least 3 moves to kill us, and we're just going to exert a lot more pressure on them with the jabs than they're exerting on us. I would no shield again. No reason to give up the shield here. And then throw 3 and then throw if we want to try to deny. Then we don't get the deny. That's okay, I think. We're still putting a lot of pressure on them. No takers so far. All right, Florida Man. Well, maybe that you get to come in at some point. And then swaps out here with their defense down into the Mandibuzz that doesn't really care about any Agreedance moves. Saving that Nidoqueen for later. TerminalSump definitely a big fan of making these aggressive swaps. They can be a little risky, especially on a lead like that, right? We just swapped in a Dark type into a lead that is weak to counter. There's like a pretty reasonable chance that that normal type has a Charmer behind it, and that would have put us in a pretty rough spot when we could have just won lead traditionally. But it's a Politoed, and now he gets to make the hard call. Does the Politoed with the Best Buddy Ribbon have Blizzard? Throws up the shield. Weather Ball. Doesn't feel great, but I think we get to this foul play before they can throw another move. But this still won't be lethal, so opponent going to keep pressuring our sanity here with does the Politoed have Blizzard? As the Politoed, from the Politoed's perspective, you almost always want to go Weather Ball first because that keeps the pressure on them. If you throw Blizzard the first time they shield it, then they know you have it. Throwing that Weather Ball first puts them into a bunch of mental anguish. I would no shield this, and we can probably farm that down. Oh, 2. Well, we're going to kill them. We're going to win switch here. I'm fairly confident they'll shield this, because them trying to mudshot us down may not work out the way they want. And then they're going to farm us down with something. A Pidgeot. We do have Bubble on our Jelly, so we can try to throw Bubble Beam here and no shield this Jelly. Good move timing there, not letting through a free Gust. Definitely don't want to let through those 4-turn moves. We get a shield on the Bubble Beam because the opponent thinks we might have Ice Beam. Now they know we don't have Ice Beam. I don't expect them to shield anything else. But we can, they Feather Dance us. We swap out here now that they're debuffed. 2, 3. I think we get to time that maybe a little bit cleaner, but he's just going to farm us down, but we get to put a lot of pressure on here. Now he's debuffed in his attack and his defense. I don't think there's any way there where we can time it well enough we get to another move. And we cleared our debuff once, but now they're back in at it again. The green still has some HP, and it's going to be hard to bubble it down. So they swap out here to 2 stages down. I don't think that this Bubble Beam kills the green, and so they're pretty much always going to get to a crunch here. And the crunch is going to pressure our shield. And then I would shield this, yeah. And we go for a farm down, but the Pidgeot's going to come back in. And I don't think we can kill it before it gets to a Brave Bird. 1, 2, die a little bit. Squirrel, okay. Squirrel down. 1, 2, 3. Shadow Ball, probably still more damage efficient. And with the timer up, trying to just get that thing lower HP than we have. But I don't think that's happening. They get to a move. But I think that's a pretty interesting play. I'm curious, we could have gotten Shadow Ball or 2 Bubble Beams, right? Those were our 2 choices there. So I'm going to pull that up as we pull Terminal back in here and ask him what he's thinking about the game. I'm going to start pulling up that last matchup and see what...
That was a tough one. If they didn't have a Pidgey in the back, I probably, a lot of other Pokemon, I could have won that after a negative lead. But or with Ice Beam on the Jelly, I could have won it. But with Feather Dance debuffing me, I don't know what play I had there really. Whether was it right to switch out to clear the debuff or just keep going? They were gonna bail into the Greedent at some point.
Yeah. I think it was right. I think that where we disadvantaged ourselves a little bit was earlier in the match. Like you definitely have it in your style that you make a lot of aggressive swaps, and I think that sometimes that pays off for us, and other times it puts us in slightly more awkward positions than we were. I think that the swap out into Mandy, I think we could have stayed in there. Like they didn't. Like, I mean, I could pull up. I wanted to look at this first because I have it here. Shadow Ball's 31 damage. 2 Bubble Beams is 40, and I'm not sure that makes the difference. But like in that narrow of an end game, the 2 Bubble Beams eats the whole clock before they get to throw that last move.
You know, I could see the timer up, and I thought, well, stall this out.
And so
they had.
I like the thinking there. Like you definitely saw the timer, and then you're like, I'm gonna throw this Shadow Ball because it's more damage than a Bubble Beam, and I'm hoping they're lower HP than I am. I feel like that's where you were at.
Yep.
But given that there was still like 18, or the timer came up, there's like 15 or 18 on the timer. I think if you go for 2 Bubble Beams there, one, it's slightly more damage. You would have gotten to the 2 Bubble Beams before they got to that move. So it's a little bit more damage. Yep. And if you throw the Bubble Beam right away, there's going to be like 2 gusts there that do slightly less damage.
Yeah, indeed.
So that was...
Probably would have still...
yeah, that would have been... I think that forces the timeout, but I'm still not sure... Like, that's like probably a 10 HP difference.
Would have been lower.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure... Earlier, I agree, I was being a bit aggressive getting into the Mandy.
Let me look at the green versus... I don't want Groudon.
To be honest, actually, I should have said I don't know that matchup. I was like, do I real not? Do I go with power? I didn't know that matchup.
Green versus...
I don't know the counts on Greedent.
Yeah, Green versus Nidoqueen. What's this look like in the no shields? Not in sandbox mode, please. We just... How do we kill this thing? So it's just... I mean, that looks a lot like the Scrafty matchup where it's a Poison Fang, Earth Power. They're coming out at very low HP. So if we throw that in the other order, it's probably lethal. Sandbox mode. Poison Fang. Earth Power. Yeah. They get to a... they're like in the... So that, if they sneak a move at some point, maybe that they get there just before us, but it looks like we should be able to... Poison Fang, whether we want to go up to 8 and bait or not, it doesn't look like changes anything. But if we Poison Fang and then Earth Power, that will kill the Greedent before it can throw the third Body Slam.
If they shield that, because they know the Earth Power's coming then, if they know the matchup.
If they shield this one, we can look at exactly what that happens. So they shield this.
Yeah, no, indeed, because then they're going to get two Body Slams maybe. That's the risk, isn't it?
They get a Body Slam. We can shield that. Yeah, they're going to get to another one still before we get to a Poison Fang. So yeah, I guess maybe we were back against the wall there. Man, each bullet seed being 13 energy, it gets those bodies. It's like what 3/3.
Oh, it's just crazy fast. Crazy fast.
It likes green in the 0s, but you should win the 1s and 2s. And that's you baiting Poison Fang and them shielding though. Oh no, they no shield the first one, shield the second one, and you get to a third one. So you can always play the 1s there, going straight Poison Fang. I guess if we see a green again, that should be probably our plan.
Poison Fang with one shield, and then if they don't shield, great. If they do, then you still win. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to throw that second one before they can throw the third one, so you'll know what their plan is or not.
It's less risky. That's less risky. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you can throw 2 Poison Fangs, and if they shield the second one, then you can just mirror from there, and you win the 1s or the 2s. So no earth power needed, just lots of poison fangs. Oh yeah, and in the 2s, you're shielding 1 body slam. You just tank that body. Am I even shielding twice here? I shield the first 2. Yeah, so if you shield 2 body slams, you can throw 3 poison fangs and farm them down and come out with, red HP but a poison fang loaded. And that was them shielding 2 poison fangs, you shielding 2 body slams. So that's a pretty good matchup for us if we just go straight poison fang. If we see that again, we don't have to swap out.
I like that.
We just throw on 5, throw again as soon as we get to another one, and then we just mirror shields. They shield that one, we can shield the next body slam, and we just play it out from there. All right, this is a pretty decent lead for us, I think. And here's another one where we just go straight poison fang. We can tank 1 and then mirror from there. Yeah, we don't know. Other people coming in. Aggressive swap here. Really likes those aggressive swaps. He's probably got some kind of anti-flyer, probably a G-Fisk. Goes to their Altaria. That's an interesting counter swap for this. Dragon Breath slightly more efficient than, just all of Altaria's moves are a little more efficient than Mandibuzz's. So I imagine this is not a Mandibuzz favorite matchup, but it might come down to IVs and rounding. It's going to go up to, it's going to throw right here, and it should throw a Moonblast. Sky Attack won't be lethal, but Moonblast will. But they throw the Sky Attack, baiting. We get to throw again here. We want to leave this in farm down range, I think. We don't know what their backmon is, but we definitely want energy on it. If you wanted to make an aggressive swap right here, that was probably an option. But it doesn't quite get there. They're going to get to another Sky Attack here, because they pace with us, right? We're generating energy at the exact same rate. So we were almost at 3 there. That means they're almost at 3. So I expect that they have the move here, right about here. Yep. Tank this one. TheTerminalSump feeling rough about this game. We got to be looking for a win condition here. So we're farming this down. The Venusaur still can't Vine Whip us down. So we can create a pretty good farm up here. I think they have an Escavalier. So winning switch would have been pretty nice for us. We probably could have won switch in that lead matchup, and then we get Jelly on Escav, Mandibuzz on the other one. Probably okay. 2, 3. Swaps out here, trying to get an energy lead on the Venusaur. We gotta shield this. This is like the most... Oh, wait, save... Oh, maybe? He thinks he can farm down the Venu with... Can the Escavalier counter us down from here if we threw a Shadow Ball here? If they no-shield this, it feels like a lose con. They do shield it. So we got that going for us. 2. So we have to farm this down. Shielding. The Escav's going to win CMP though. If the Escav swapped out with a move loaded, which I think it did, because we swapped out after 6 counters and they went a little past. So I think that they probably... they get to another move there anyways. But I think they had checkmate. I think they had a draw on the Escav too. And that Escav wins CMP. Alright, TheTerminalSump, what do you think about that one?
If they'd actually thrown the Moonblast on the Altaria, I might have had a good chance. They baited me.
Yeah.
I'm unsure that it was the right decision to try and catch on Mandy, but I would have had to commit shields to beat the Venusaur with Nidoqueen. So and there was almost certainly a flyer in the back. Maybe I should have just even trashed the Nidoqueen to get rid of to get if there was a flyer, because both Pokemon are reasonable against the flyer. But
so Nidoqueen's actually favored.
I don't know.
Yeah, Nidoqueen's favorite in all even shields against Venusaur. That's pretty tight in the ones. You'd have to Poison Fang bait them.
I'm thinking too. Yeah, I may be thinking a little bit too much of GL, because GL, a frenzy plant, just almost KOs you.
Yeah, in Ultra it does 55%.
Okay, so stay in, tank a frenzy plant and see what they want to do. They got a sneak in as well, which didn't help, which meant that the second Poison Fang would have been CMP, and I don't know who wins CMP. Tell me now.
Venusaur does.
Venusaur does, which is not great then, because you have to make the decision on shielding.
Yeah, but in theory, you can win the ones going straight Poison Fang. You come out at almost dead, but with a Poison Fang loaded. So if both of you get the sneak in, you still get to the Poison Fang ahead of them, and it's lethal, so they'd have to shield first.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of what you're playing for. If you don't get that sneak back in, then it's going to be CMP here, and you'd have to shield first. But most Venusaurs are going to have... I mean, wait. That guy's team... That team was ridiculous. Now that I'm thinking... They had a Venusaur lead and an S-Scav in the back. That's ridiculous. But we don't see that many fire types. It feels pretty crazy, ABA, but we don't see that many fire
also, types. I mean, Ice would, okay, the S-Scav might do okay, but an A9 could ruin that line as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because their lead, their ABA weak in a couple different directions there, right? To Ice with the Altaria and the Venusaur. So that seems pretty wild, but like, we're going to see some of those. But I think, generally speaking... I would expect there to be some kind of steel type in the back, right? The Venusaur is like mega weak to flying, some kind of steel type in the back. We like never want really our Mandibuzz lined up on the steel type. I guess Escav is probably one of the best cases there for the Mandibuzz. But we don't ever really want our Mandibuzz on the steel type. We want our Jelly on the steel type. So I think playing for switch against a Venusaur lead is probably good for us. Because then we get to line up our Jelly, and the Jelly beats most of the steel types so hard that it can even make up if the Mandibuzz has the Mandibuzz didn't have a great matchup with Altaria, but I think the Jelly could have picked that up too, in addition to how bad it was going to beat that S-Scav. Right?
Absolutely. I mean, if the natural thing, if we had one switch on the Venusaur, the natural thing would have been to bring Jelly on the whether it's S-Scav or Altaria, probably bring the Jelly in at that point. Yeah. Either way. Mm-hmm. And they've got nowhere to go. They would have had nowhere to go. Yeah. So and Mandy could have just cleaned up.
Yeah. So I think against those, and you have been running this just for chat. Like he'd been running this team with a different lead mostly up till this point. And so that's why I think some of these lead matchups are throwing us off, because he just hasn't played the Nidoqueen in these even matchups with these opposing Mons. So we're spending some time looking at it, because I think the team's pretty solid. I think he's had lines to win in. I mean, that one game probably we could call that one unwinnable. The one where they had the A9 counter swap for our Mandy. I would call that pretty bad. But most of the games it felt like we've had a chance to win, and so I think if you want to keep running with this team, that's good. And I just like every time in those lead matchups where you're like, I just don't just pull it up and look at it, right? And I think the Nidoqueen's actually been pretty good in most of the leads we've seen. And especially against that Venusaur, right? Venusaur is almost always going to have some kind of steel type. We want to win switch there, and we can force switch there in any of the even shields. So, look
okay, mistake to switch out then. Big mistake, yeah.
I appreciate you coming on today, TheTerminalSump, and I'll save this VOD and send you a link to it. As other people in chat saw, there are other coaching sessions people are trying to gift out in the community. If you're interested, hit us up on the Discord in the GBL coaching questions channel. Is probably the best place to hey, I want coaching, and we can try to sort that out and get that time set up for that. Anything else you'd like to say, TheTerminalSump, before we actually?
No, just a big massive thank you. Definitely some new stuff to absorb there, so thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'd like to thank you for joining us today in the dojo. If you value these coaching VODs, you can give this video a like, you can subscribe to my channel, or you can leave some feedback below in the comments. Also, in the description are links to my Twitter and Twitch. You can follow me there for additional content. I live stream on Twitch Monday through Friday starting at noon Pacific. I would love to have you join us there so we can learn and grow together.